So I've been reading manga for over 4 years now, and this is the lowest amount of volumes read I've ever had in a month. And it really doesn't help that I just bought a PS5 a couple days ago, and all I've been doing is playing Call of Duty. Hello all of my otaku friends, my name is Otaku, and welcome back to my channel for my August manga reading log. I got a modest amount of reading done this month, but it was an emotional roller coaster. I read one of the worst things I've read all year, and there was just a lot of things that surprised me, so stay tuned. Let's start this first section off with Yen Press, and again, as always, thanks so much to Callista and the team for providing me manga to review on their behalf so I could put some new things on y'all's radar. But with that being said, we have a literal dumpster fire, one of the worst things I've read this year, and that is volumes 1 to 3 of No Longer Heroine. The story is quite a simple one. It follows this girl here who's had a long time crush on this boy here, their childhood friends. However, she's no longer the heroine. She's playing second fiddle to the normie girl who's now dating this guy. The story isn't groundbreaking, the characters are toxic at best and absolutely despicable at their worst, and the art isn't really phenomenal. So yeah, this isn't a great manga, but for some weird reason, I absolutely enjoy it. Now you're probably thinking, Prof, that's an oxymoron, you're a despicable manga tuber, you should give up reviewing manga for the rest of your life. But let me just try to paint a picture for you. This story is just so ugly and despicable, and it festers all these angry emotions inside of you. You just can't help but turn the page to see what kind of train wreck they get in next. I'll be totally honest with you, reading this manga is just like reading a play-by-play of what I deal with at the high school teaching kids every day, and I'm just all for it, I guess. Next up here is a very surprising volume. We have Shy Volume 3. I just love the progression of the story in the last few volumes. This dives into this girl's backstory, but it also expands our villain side and the different motives going on here. It's really, really cool. And of course, the art is top-notch. The power system is super cool, and I'm loving the action panels. It is such an immersive experience, and I cannot recommend this enough. Next up here is Saint. No, I'm Just a Passing Beast Tamer Volume 1, a manga adaptation of a light novel. I thought this was a very, very good first volume. I really enjoyed the story premise. I loved the balancing act between setting up this larger world, but also progressing in the actual story with our main character. And I really love our main character and her personality, even though her motives are kind of stupid, with her wanting to be a beast tamer to pet all the fluffy things instead of being the omnipotent saint and saving the whole world. But you know what? That's okay, because I understand what she's feeling. Next up here is a completion to a series, Volume 4 of Mons Taboo. And what can I say about this short 4-volume series? I thought the ending was very well done. It was really interesting, but one thing you should be aware of is that the main character presented in the first 2 volumes of the series kind of deviates from being the main character, and this volume kind of wraps up with one of the side characters who becomes a main character. Really interesting way to tell the story, but it is what it is. Was it the way I would have finished the story? No, but was it a conclusive ending? Yes, it was. So it's a very highly recommended 4-volume short series if you're looking for an action-packed, really something kind of different. Now here's volume 1 I had never heard of, and that is Primal Gods in Ancient Times. The story is quite a simple one at base level. It follows this guy here who is a priest and his 2 assistants as they go around traveling the earth, encountering the different gods and trying to control their wrath. The whole story comes about because the priest saves the little girl from being sacrificed in her village, so he takes her under her wing to help exorcise these different gods. But though this story seems very simple on the surface, there's many different layers going on here, and that is due to the wonderful writing of our characters. Each character has their own motive and their own goal, and it's really interesting to see how that plays in the main story. The artwork is phenomenal. I love seeing all the different characteristics of the gods. I can see this one being super, super cool, and I highly recommend. Next up here is a short story collection, I Don't Need a Happy Ending. This is from the same mangaka who does Assorted Entanglements. Now, I do love short story collections, and I was really interested in this because it was a Yuri short story collection, and the stories were interesting enough. I just thought that the flow of the stories was kind of weird. Most of the stories follow the same formula. There's a conflict and a resolution of some sort, but I felt like the actual Yuri romance part was just kind of out of left field with some of these characters, especially because the conflict was with each other. And this volume is definitely mature rated, and I thought that the erotic parts of the story just didn't really flow well with the chemistry of the characters. So with that being said, I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was fine, it's just the storytelling lacked a little bit. Now here's a volume I absolutely love, that is Doomsday with My Dog Volume 3. This volume specifically really cemented this series as one of my favorite comedy series of all time due to the last chapter. Super sentimental, super heartfelt, a very different tone from the rest of the manga, but I thought it was very well done. And then of course you get the episodic chapters with the hilarious hijinks. The dog character is one of the best characters in this whole manga. He is super funny, and I cannot recommend this manga enough. Here we are with the second volume, Call the Name of the Night. I really enjoyed this continuation volume from volume 1. Definitely slowed some things down in terms of the storytelling, a more slice of life volume, but with that being said, the characters are likable. This fantasy world is really interesting, and I cannot wait to see how this develops more. And last but not least, from Yen Press, we have I Want to Be a Receptionist in a Magical World Volume 1. It's exactly what you think it is. It is about a girl who is going through school to become a receptionist in this magical world, and I thought that the first volume was really weird. I really wanted this volume to be focused on the receptionist part of it, but this whole volume was a setup volume, basically a school life volume detailing her growing up through this school to become the receptionist. So with that being said, as I continued to read through the volume, the only thing I was thinking of was, man, when does this get good? I want to know about her antics as the receptionist. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I am going to continue with this because I want to see how this develops. Let's move on here to Viz Media, and first off is a series that I actually dropped, and that is volume 2 of Love's in Sight. Yes, this series is only 8 volumes, but I just couldn't take it anymore. I was so bored with the whole thing. I really don't like the vision impaired character. I think that she's just has a personality trait that I personally don't enjoy. We get introduced to a new character in here, and I mean, it's just so stereotypical, and I just can't take it. This whole series gives me vibes of The Girl Who Forgot Her Glasses. It's literally the same exact thing with a vision impaired girl with the same boring episodes. So yeah, if you didn't like that series, you're definitely not gonna like this one. Now here's a rom-com series I thoroughly enjoy, and that is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 8. I love the characters, I love the story premise. I think that it continues to be fresh. I am glad that this ended where it did because I can see this becoming monotonous if it went any further than like the 11 or 12 volumes that it says that it's stopped at. So I cannot wait to finish this up sooner rather than later. Next up, here's another rom-com series, Kaguya-Sama Love is War Volume 25. Oh my god, this volume was so insane, so many twists and turns, and I cannot wait to see what the next volume brings, just to see the whole family and the political craziness going on, but also you get our characters really kind of stepping up to the plate. Oh, it's just so awesome to see. What a different vibe from the beginning of the manga, but I absolutely love it. And last up here from Viz Media, we have Dark Gathering Volume 2. I thoroughly enjoyed this volume. I love the progression of the story that's happening. It's episodic, but there's definitely, you can feel the overarching story going along with these episodes, which I really enjoy. The art in this manga is absolutely lights out. I'm not a big horror fan, but I like the horror in this just because it's more comedic in nature. So yeah, Dark Gathering, I'm absolutely loving this. Let's move on to the Kodansha Vertical Conglomerate, and first off is from Vertical, we have Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun Volume 2. This volume has everything you want. Continuous progression with the story, introductions of really interesting characters, hilarious episodes, a great cast of characters that just meld very well together. This is such a fun manga, so underrated. I just feel like this is a series I never would have picked up if it wasn't for the recommendation of the community, and I'm so glad that I did. Next up is Volume 4 of A Condition Called Love, and I love what this volume was bringing to the table. We have a very good mix of relationship progression, but also some turmoil and some drama and how our characters respond to that, and of course you get their personality traits that are ever more present in this volume. I'm absolutely loving this series. I'm so glad that I kept going with this, and I think that you need to give it a shot as well. Here's another series that I finished up. I read volumes 33 and 34 of Fire Force, and I read 34 on scans to just go ahead and finish that off. So what will I say about the ending of Fire Force? I thought Fire Force ended in a way that was exactly how Fire Force should have ended, with the same comedic funniness, but also more of a serious tone that was presented in the first volume. So yes, it was conclusive, but with that being said, I thought the final arc was super messy, way too many crazy ideas going on that really was impossible to follow, and then it kind of just wrapped itself up and you're like, whoa, what's going on? But on the contrary, contrary, I do see how those confusing ideas are important to the story because it directly correlates to how this is connected to Soul Eater as a prequel. So with that being said, this is super cool, but kind of confusing. Am I happy that I went on the ride for this? Absolutely. Will I read this again? Maybe. It really depends on how I feel about Soul Eater. I think if I read Soul Eater and then my fire and passion about the whole universe kind of perks back up again, then I will definitely give this one a reread. And last up here for Kodansha, we have In the Clear Moonlit Dusk Volume 5. This was great. This was wonderful. This was everything I want in a fluffy shoujo romance series, and I cannot recommend this enough. Mika Yamamori is a master, and you need to get on any of her works. From TokyoPop, we have one volume. We have Sengoku Yoko Volume 2. This is, of course, by Satoshi Mizukami, the same creator as Lucifer in the Biscuit Hammer and Spirit Circle. I hated Volume 1, and I was expecting to hate Volume 2, but I loved Volume 2. We have officially moved on from the episodic part of the world building here and have moved into the crutch of the actual story itself. What is the main idea? What is the team working towards? It's really cool. I love to see what the characters are doing now, especially near the end of the volume. So yes, I am all in on this series. I am so glad that TokyoPop is releasing this. And finally, we have 3 volumes from 7 Seas. First up is The Country Without Humans Volume 3. This was a really weird volume because we basically had a setup in the first 2 volumes that was like gonna hit the big mic drop moment in Volume 3. And then I felt like that moment came and just immediately went away. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, that was a huge moment in this manga. And then this was like a speed race to the end of the volume. They finished an idea and then they started another huge idea and it just finished up there and then it moved on to another idea. And I was like, whoa, we gotta slow down here. So yes, do I love this series? Absolutely. I think this is a really cool dystopian slice of life sci-fi series. But with that being said, there's definitely some storytelling issues here. I am curious to see where this new idea goes in volumes 4 and 5 because it is a really cool storyline. So yes, we will see what volume 4 brings. Next up is volume 2 of My Girlfriend's Child, and this was a phenomenal volume, an even better continuation from volume 1. I love to see our 2 main characters, their relationship develop, and also just the sensitivity to teen pregnancy, all the different options available to you, how educational this manga is, which I think is like the best part of this manga. I love the introduction of the new characters in this volume and the drama that they bring to the table. This is such a well-written series. This is a cherished series in my collection and one that I think every person should read. And last but not least, I read volume 3 of Asumi-Chan is Interested in Lesbian Brothels. Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. You know, yeah. I thought that the storyline presented in the first 2 volumes progressed very well. There was a very good balance between the ecchi and the storytelling. There was not so much storytelling in this volume, which made the balance really off. This series definitely needs that to continue to feel fresh. But with that volume, that is my manga reading log for the month of August. Definitely a disappointing month, but there are some really cool things that I've been reading already at the beginning of this month that I cannot wait to share with you. As always, if you enjoy the content of my videos, make sure you hit that like button, tap the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.